my name is Chibuzor Emordi. I run Zurizola. Zurizola is a macrame lifestyle brand in the sense that we make clothing and home decor out of ropes, street, and I work with ropes, right? So the most important thing for me is that I'm able to reimagine everyday living products and see how I can make them out of rope, not just decorative items, but they're actually functional. So our clothing are like wearable art made out of rope, okay? And then I run workshops. I have like the workshop arm of the brand, which is called Craft and the Lady, where it's for me, I'm trying to push the narrative about mindful crafting, right? Working with our hands, therapeutic nature of working with our hands. And, for me, like I said, I'm self-taught. I realized that it was a form of self-expression for me, like an outlet to be able to get out all the craziness of COVID and all of that. And so that's one of the reasons why we host those workshops, to be able to teach people, to be able to spread the narrative of mindful. We can actually have mindful crafting. We can actually make something out of nothing with everyday products around us. And so that's basically all about it for my brand. And we do a lot of community development work. So you see how just one thing is beginning to spread out, but at the same time, they're all related. It started with just one thing, and before you knew it, it started fleshing out. So we do a lot of community work. Macramé is a very hands-on craft. It's a community-driven craft. So we work with women in low-income areas where we teach them. So there's this communal thing about, the whole thing. So when we talk about, I want us to be able to, because of the time, I'm going to spend like 30, 45 minutes with this introduction, and then we'll get hands-on. So when we talk about narrowing, how do you now merge macrame, whatever, macrame making with your own individual craft? Or I don't know what you work with. Do you work with batik? Do you work with Ankara? Like, what do you do?
Hello, everyone. My name is Gbemi. So I run a gifting and experience company. More recently, we've started making sure that most of the things that we're doing, they are African crafts, celebrating the, African craftsmanship. And then it started drawing us closer to everyday crafts that we can pick. So we do crafts too, and we work with our hands. So this really drew me here. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Obi Ibuka Chris. So I'm a creative director and a media head. So in our company, we're able to design products for individuals, but we are looking for a way to personalize it, like what she said. And because we realize that in trying to, for example, we get a photo book or we get a frame, just almost everybody is doing the same thing. And I'm like, no, how can we make this unique? Especially for some, high brand personnel and the rest. So you just realize that you just have to find a way to think out of the box and the rest. So that's why I'm actually here to see how can this also impact in our services. She's with me also. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Okay, good. So you said something about African craftsmanship, right? So when you trace back the history of macrame, it's a foreign craft, right? When you look at the knots that you tied, usually sailors, like when you think about sailors on the ship, how they tie their ropes. So think back, it's not a Nigerian African thing. But the narrative I'm trying to push is we can make it. Whatever it is you have is what you make out of it, to be honest. It could be foreign, it could be anything. How do we bring it down here? How do we tell our own stories? How do we make it African? There's a word I use, I call it African macrame. Like, that's my hashtag, it's African macrame, because I've owned it. So yes, it's foreign, but yes, we are bringing it here. So how do we now merge it with our own culture, with our own traditional. It's a traditional craft. You're working with your hand. So it's in the same family as knitting and crochet, right? So I get that question a lot. Is macrame the same thing as knitting or crochet? It's not. Because with macrame, you work strictly with your hands. You can say I have no nails on. So I only fix nails for special occasions because we have to work with our hands. But with knitting and crochet, you work with either a knitting pin or a hook. So macrame is strictly made by hand. And so how do you, when you have gift items, you also have gift items, right? So how do you now, you have to sit down and think. It's something you have to go back now and think, because that's literally what I had to do. When I started, I had no clue what I was doing. I just knew I needed an outlet to, okay, we're all at home, but I've always been very good with my hands. So I needed, like, I picked the rope, like, I was stuck in my sister's home. I didn't have any fancy equipment. I literally just picked a random rope and started, went on YouTube. YouTube is a very good resource, but at the same time, you literally have to figure things out yourself. So I went on YouTube, started tying ropes, and, we came out of COVID. My work hours were cut short. Like, okay, so where do we go from here? I put it aside for a while, and I started becoming intentional about it in 2023. And what did I do? I started doing workshops. My first few workshops were done for free. I was bringing friends together. Like, you know what? Let's just come. Let me, I got someone to hold my phone and, take pictures, put them out there. For a long time, I didn't even have any sign up, but I was pushing. And yeah, that's a story for another day because of the time. And before you knew, I was like, you know what? I had a clothing brand before COVID, but I was doing more of batik. I make my fabrics myself. And then it's been on hold. And then I'm like, okay, you see that there's like a progression now. Okay, from workshops, you can actually infuse this into your clothing brand. That's how I started with Zurizola, strictly macramé now. I work strictly with ropes and biodegradable fabrics like linen or batik, just to put that whole sustainable African story out there. And okay, late last year, I was like, you know what? Clothing, can I now kind of like peel another layer and try home decor, right? So I just started. I'm launching properly the home decor in 2026. So I break my progress into goals, into years. But it's come naturally. But along the line, I've been able to figure it out. I don't know how, if you go to my pages, you see how I started. But I'm progressing. It's beginning to be like a consistency, and all of that. How did I get to talking about this? So yeah, now we have the home decor parts. And even though I haven't launched, I was able to show at Design Week Lagos. Like when you have something, a dream, I'm a very introverted person, very reserved person, but this kind of like has flipped the script for me. Like literally flipped the script for me in my life. It's taught me a lot. Macramé is a grounded craft. Like when you're working, you have to concentrate. It's repetitive and all of that. So you have no distractions and they're all out of it. But yeah, let's bring it down to home. Now you sit down, like how can I infuse this into my own story, into my own art, into my own craft, into my own direction. Like, right, it's left to you, and then own it. Own it. I have I bought some gift for you guys. Can we see that, right? So nobody's going home empty. So these are kind of like, so when you're talking about gifts and how you can personalize them, how you can make them. And if you notice, I work with only wooden, so I'm very big on sustainability. I'm very big on recycling. So everything you see here, they are made from off-cuts. So when I work on a project, I do not throw the cords away. So you can see this is a smaller version of this. So I keep them and everything is made out of it. So how can I infuse this into my own brand, into my own story, into my own craft? It's an individual thing. You know the story you want to tell. You know the way you want to project your brand. Just that. I think we'll exchange contacts because I love to do a follow-up. So that's one thing I want to throw to you guys. How would you forget that it's not okay? You might probably look at our pages and say we do not have followers, but what impact are you making? That's the most important thing. I can brag about the impact that I'm making. I host workshops every month. I know I've trained like people, so it's not out there, but you feel good about it. Your footprint, the most important thing is that you have a footprint. You're building a footprint, right? So I'm going to throw it to you guys now. You go back and see how you can incorporate whatever it is into your own individual craft, into your own individual story. What's the way you interpret it? Definitely going to be different from the way he's going to interpret it, right? So I want us to. So I did a collaboration. The pieces are going to be live from this weekend. So I did a collaboration recently, and why I'm mentioning this is how do we now merge macrame making with culture, our own tradition, right? So I did a collaboration with a friend, and for me, I do not do collaborations, but if I do collaborations, it has to be intentional. I have to be sure that your brand values, your brand ethos, your brand everything aligns with what the story I'm trying to tell with my brand. So I did a collaboration recently with a friend. His name is John Pelumi, and so they work with batik. Beautiful story, right? So they work with batik, and I work with macrame makers. Like, how can we come together? Batik making is not my skill. So that's where collaboration comes. We can't do everything. I learned that the hard way. That's a story for another day, like I said. So I learned that the hard way. We cannot do everything ourselves. Collaborations. So that's where collaborations now come in. So I said to him, this is my strength. This is your strength. How can we come together and tell a cohesive story? Like story, different story, but come together and everything that we believe in merges seamlessly. So we did that. We've been working on it for a while. It's our first one. I'm still experimenting. I can't even tell you that I'm perfect because I'm growing every day. I'm learning something every day. And then we came together. I was like, okay, let's have this dress made out of batik. You design your batik. It's a long process. And most important thing when whatever it is you are doing, not just in fashion, craft. I'm literally working at the intersection of fashion and craft. Fashion and craft here. Always prototype. I think that's where we miss it here. Prototype, sample and prototype. Because once this person is doing this thing, I can do it now. Let me go and do it. What's so special about what this person is doing? And I pick it up I go straight. There's no drawing board. There's no research. You do not research. You do not carry out your sampling. You do not carry out your prototyping, and you throw it out there. Do you want to build something that would last? Or do you want to build something because every other person is doing it? So I think that's the questions we have to ask ourselves, even with whatever it is you're trying to incorporate in what you're doing. Do you want to do it because you feel macrame is a new thing and every other person is doing it? Or do you want to do it because you feel that you've gotten to the point in your brand where you have to infuse something new, you have to learn something new? Because I got to a point, when I was working in 9 to 5, I got to a point where I was burnt out. I had exhausted everything that I knew. And I said to myself, I reached out to my boss, can I take a study break? I want to. So I'd apply to a school in Paris to do embroidery and to learn embroidery and, handwork. And then COVID happened. The month I was supposed to leave was when lockdown happened. So that was heartbreaking for me. But, sorry, I'll bring in the God factor. It was heartbreaking for me, but I now looking at it 3 years, 5 years later, I realized that there was a reason for it, because that was when I was okay, since I can't go, what can I learn during COVID? And that's how this happened, So question is, do I want to do this because every other person is doing it? I want to follow the bandwagon, or I want to do it because I've gotten to the point where, okay, I feel my brand has to grow. I've gotten to the point where I want to do something new. I want to flip the script and do something new, okay? So I think for me that it's very, very important. Very, very important. And that's what has sustained me, because my growth has been very wholesome. Wholesome is the word, wholesome, very wholesome, very, very intentional, okay? So please, whatever it is you do, do not rush it. Take your time, do your research. When I started, I didn't know where to get these ropes. So what I've done for you guys, I brought, you can see that the rope textures are different. Right, so for each project, you take your time and feel them. So for each project, for whatever it is you're working on, there are different kinds of rope. And then when you have this is like a 4mm, 5mm. Of course, you have bigger. I think I have a small one somewhere. You have the 3mm. Right, so if you are into gift packaging and you just want something cute, you have the 3mm. This is a 4-5mm. This is for easy. Then you have the 6mm, you have the 7mm. So it literally depends on the project you are embarking on. And I do not just work with macrame, anything rope, jute rope, paracord. This is paracord. The textures of these ones here are different from the texture of this one, okay? So that's why I say you need to sit down and think of, how do I want to interpret macrame, and how do I want to infuse it, and what's the story I want to tell? Because she might want to work with paracord. You might say, oh, okay, I like the cotton. These are cotton cords. Or I said, "Oh, I want to work with jute. Or I just want to work with everything." But then you have to understand how this works and how that works. Yeah? So you don't have like, but then you prototype. You do your sampling. When you do your sampling, when you do your prototyping, you get to know this is the mistake. I made this mistake here. Oh, okay, I thought I could use cotton cords, but it's not holding well. Can I use paracord? Or can I use jute rope? Okay? So that again, I was talking about my collaboration with my friend, just to round up the talking session and to merge everything together. Like, okay, so we came together and we created a dress using batik, and has like I'll see if we can just take a look at it on my phone, and has, okay, I didn't transfer the video to you, and it has infused macrame on the straps, macrame on the skirts, and they are detachable. So macrame is very versatile, depending on how I style it. I'm wearing this as a top. I could wear a shirt. I could take it to the beach and wear a shirt. I could wear a shirt, make it more formal, wear a shirt in it, and all of that. So it's really, really very, very versatile when we talk about clothing and when we talk about home decor. So yeah, so we're able to come together and tell a story, merging two traditional crafts, batik making and macrame making in one dress. So you're literally getting the best of both worlds, right? And then we've brought together that craft. Like, so for us, it's not just about telling that story, but how do we reimagine it? I think reimagination is the word. Like when you sit down, I hold this rope now. You know, my head is, there's like a zillion things going through my head. What can I do with this rope? This chair now, that is made out of plastic. How can I reimagine it and, make something out of ropes? Make a chair out of rope. But of course, you have to add other elements. Do you understand? So those are all don't just do things. Product development. I was head of the product development I'm very good with product development. I take my time. Don't just do things. Develop your product. Go through the process. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to stand you out. I'm not the biggest macrame. I'm not like, I don't do the big things when it comes to macrame, but I'm very, very big on quality. And when you talk about sustainability, there's this, one of the factors of sustainability is quality over quantity. Right? Not just throwing out. And if you're saying you want to be sustainable, you have to be able to put in that factor of overproduction and overconsumption, right? Well, we'll go. I'm hoping we have another workshop so we can go into all of that. But when it comes to overconsumption, I want to be able to control the expectations of because when you give people too many options, and I always say, I do not do collections, I do drops. I produce in small batches, and then I do pre-orders. Be it clothing or anything, I do pre-orders because then there's no wastage. You're producing what people actually want and need, and they're ready to pay for, right? And then you produce in small batches. I could bring this and I was like, I have a small batch of bags, 10 pieces. I'm selling it off. I'm also saving myself of tying down my money, looking for space to store inventory and the rest, right? So, and then when we talk about overconsumptions on the flip side for the consumers, you're also trying to, like, when you give people too many options, they're just like buy. But when you're giving 3 or 4 options, like, okay, I have to choose between A or B. I do not have any other option. And then, but I'm living with something. One of the foundational, before you start a macrame project, is a commonly used macrame knot. In every macrame project, you probably find a square. Right? So I will teach you guys how to tie a square knot. This is a square knot here, right? You can see it's in multiples, but it's a square knot. Everything you have up there, I brought them so you see how versatile, how you can use the square knot. Everything you have up there is made out of the square knots, right? You see some of them are tightly knitted, not woven. Some of them are loose. Some, in different, as a skirt, as a bag, and what else is up there. Just think about it. So it's the square knot. It's not different. It might look like, this is a different technique. It's one knot used in different ways, in different designs. So this is I'll call it the Oyibo one, the foreign one, right? This is the one you see when you watch your YouTube videos. This is what you see and all of that. But then, when I first started, there was a time I was crazy about finding this. And that's the thing about growth and, peeling layers. I was crazy about finding this. I was spending, the first one I was gotten from the UK. And I spent a ton of money just to get it. But I needed to get to even, I needed to get my hands on it to feel like this thing I see on YouTube. I need to get my hands on it to see what it looks like. So let's say for 100, it comes in 100 grams like this. So for 100 grams, I paid 15,000, which was a lot, excluding shipping. Now, guess what? I ship from China. Guess what? Probably like $1 for one. So that's the thing about when you don't know, you don't know. You don't know, you don't know. But the good thing is when you go through the process, you'll be wiser. From 15,000, I was like, I cleared my account the first. I was like, what am I even doing? I bought like a carton. It's like 15,000. I was happy until I came across God literally saying to this person to me. I was like, he ships from stuff from China for his own raw materials, and we're talking. I was like, he laughed when I told him 15,000. And then he didn't say anything. He just gave me the contact of someone. Like, call this lady. I called her, sent it to her. She was sending me samples, even better samples than the ones I bought. I was even shaking. I was like, how much would this be? 0 point something dollar. Do you understand? When you convert it to Naira, probably spending, I don't know, but it's not. I was like, do you understand? I was like, I wish I could go back and take back, but it's what you have to do to. But yeah, but that's it. So this is the forum. But again, I started using this. I'm like, okay, at some point, it doesn't work for us. That's just the truth. It works for little items like this, gift items and little details. But as full blown, guess what? It doesn't work for us. Our country is dusty. Our country is hot. Our climate is humid, is hot, is dusty. Over there, the cold, it's beautiful, but here it doesn't work. And that's when I was like, I have to start looking for other options. Yes, I can use this for something else, for other things, but what are other options? And that's where I now came back home. I was like, okay, I started looking around, like, okay. And like, you can actually do ropes. It doesn't have to, any kind of rope, jute rope, name them, yarn, fabric, right? So one thing I've experimented with is take your fabric. If you're a kind of person who would rather work with fabrics, cut them into strips. The most important thing is that it looks like a rope, and you can take those knots, and irrespective of what the medium is, the technique is the same thing. Do you understand? Depends on what you want to achieve, and it's, like I said, this depends on your aesthetics, depends on your art, your craft, your story, depends on your product. Okay, so I really want us to be able to try something and go home with something. This can be done after the whole session. So I want us to, can I have the, so I enjoyed the part where you get to do everything yourself. I feel that I have some measuring, some tapes here. So good thing is we are not a lot, so everything would go around. Here you go. Yeah, it's all right. So I'm just going to, like we said, I just showed you guys what the square knot looks like. So everything up there is made out of square knots, but use ways. And so what I want to do. Okay, all right, nice. So what is so cute? I love it. So what I want to do is to be able to teach you guys the square knot. I want you guys to leave with something today. And the beauty about, I host workshops like every month. And for me, it's a way of bringing people together. Enjoy the moment. Do something with your hands. Take home. Sorry? It's November. No, I have one on the 29th. I have one on the 29th, so it's not done. But for me, I always like when I have, and I like to keep my workshop intimate because that way I can pour into you. But most important thing is that you leave with something. So I want us to be able to leave with something. And the good thing with workshops, like, okay, yeah, we have a lot of paint and sip, but whatever I want to call it, macramé and sip, but it's different because it's like you're casually learning a lifelong skill. Because whatever knot you learn, like I said, this is a one knot that, has gone round. So when you come and you learn something, you make something, depending on how curious you are, depending on how resourceful you are, you can actually live there and run with it, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how to make a square knot. And I want us to make like a key ring. Everybody uses key ring. your gifting. You're going to pay me a zillion naira for this. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make a keyring, a wristlet keyring. Why a wristlet keyring? Because I want you guys to tie the knots over and over again. So, sorry, I don't have like, but it's almost similar to this. So you'll be tying the knots like this, right? And then we'll attach it to like a loop. So you can always attach it to your keyring or your bag charms. Like these are bag charms. So you can see this is a bigger version of and this is the same thing. So I hand paint my beads and beads and the wooden things I work with. I hand paint them to suit whatever it is I want out of them. Yep. Let's make this. So let's make this. So you can take it, hang it in your car. It will be a constant reminder of the little time that we spent together, right? Or you could give it out. But you can still take, no, I can keep this one, right? So you guys will just take this. So let's make this, right? So you can see it's not just feminine. It's actually, all right, yeah. So if you're going to make this, then you need the bigger one. Does everybody have a big one? Everybody. All right, so choose your color. Now you can use white. If it's going to be in your car, you can use white. So how do you wash? It's quite easy. You just know. You can see already it's unraveling. It's unraveling. Now, it's unraveling because what I want to do, if I want fringes, all I have to do is brush it out. That's all. So we can have it like this, so now that's why I say it depends on the purpose. If I want to have fringes, all I have to do, and the beauty of macrame is it's very sustainable. How do I brush it out? I can take my comb and then take my hairbrush and just brush it out, until it becomes full. And so, like macrame is a beautiful, beautiful craft, right? Yeah. So everybody has this. So you're going to take your measuring tape and use the centimeters, measure 215 centimeter into 2 places, right? Ropes, take your rope. I like to show how do I get 215 out of this. So use your ropes. Okay, this might not be up to, so you might have to take a fresh batch. Take from this is quite long, so I think you can get 215 centimeter, right? What color do you want? This one. So try and see if you can get, if this is long enough for your 215. Okay, 215 centimeters. 26 inches or... Okay, so you might have to leave that. We'll use this one. No, we'll use this one for this one. Okay, so take from the row. Do you understand? So these short ones, we'll use them for this one. Okay, do you understand? So you guys measure your 215 from the row. Yeah, 2. So cut 2. Yeah, 1 215, another 215. Your tape has 2 faces, inches and centimeter. Inches is the bigger one, centimeter is the smaller one. Yeah. Hello. 215. 5. 215. Because I'm literally looking at it, I was like, it's too long. So what I would do is my craft is a no-waste craft. Whatever you cut out is what you will use for this. Hi, we've gone far, but you will catch up. So what I'm trying to do with them, we talked about a couple of things, but like I said, it's also supposed to be a balance of hands-on and a bit of theory. So we're moving on now to like the practical hands-on part. So I want to teach you guys a basic macrame knot, which is a square knot. So I want you to be able to make something before you leave, right? So what color would you like? What color are you looking at? We have this one here, and then we have this one. That one. Yeah. Welcome. 215 inches. Okay, so I have mine here. Where am I going to put this? Improvise. Is this fine? Yeah.
Are we going to divide it into two?
215 in two places.
Yes.
I hope this is not red. 215 in two places. Yes. 215, two pieces of 215. Have there. No, this is 2 inches, not centimeter. 215 centimeter. Not inches, centimeter. Let me see. Can I have your tape? Looks really long. Yeah.
Are they both? Is it both 215 or two sides? Then you divide it into two. Since you did 215, then you now did it less. That look just cut it.
All right, so are we ready? Is everybody fine? Okay. So take your. So like I said, I replaced the wood with I replaced this with wood, but it's still fine, right? Depending on your aesthetics and what you want to achieve. I can't hold this, and I need to demonstrate. So I'm going to take this. All right, so we're going to. So we're going to take this. Do you have?
Easy.
What?
Okay, help me with the wood.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. So you're going to take this, right?
I thought you had your own.
Take your.
Oh, you
Because
know.
him is using wood.
Okay, so you have 215.
Okay.
You have 215. Let me see the whole 215. I hope you guys. It's going to be a hands-on class. Okay, so you have 215. Now think of how long. If I'm going to do a wristlet, right? Probably. I think this is long enough. So let me measure this. I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing this. Let me use inches because you guys are used to inches, Abby. Okay.
Anyone is fine.
I just said Abby like I'm speaking to my niece. So let's do 14 inches, right? Because this is like. No matter how big your wrist is, I think 14 inches is fine, right? So let's do 14 inches. So you're going to hold your cord like this and make the middle one 14 inches. Do you understand what I mean? You have a 200, pretend like this is your 250 long. So you're going to fold it the way I folded. Part is 14 inches. So fold it this way. Yeah.
Can you use?
Yeah. And 15 inches. Centimeters, sorry, in 2. Yeah. Then you take one.
So what are we looking for? 200
So
and
you
what?
take one of that 215 inches.
14
Then
inches,
measure
right?
14 inches and put and do the other.
Do you have inches? Hold it this way. That is not up to 14. Is that up to 14? It looks smaller. So personalize it. I'm using my wrist quite slim, right? And that's what we're talking about, personalization, right? So work with what you have. What is your wrist measurement? Okay? Are we good? All right. So while I'm doing this, let me explain why I'm doing this. So when you work with macrame, especially the knots that we are working on, right? So each time you work, I'll show you, you work with four cords at a time. So that's why we have to fold it into, and I'll explain to you. So when you're working on the square knots, you have the middle chord and the working chord, right? The middle chord is your actual measurement. The outer chords are the working chords, the chords that will be moving while you work. Because if you cut them equal, at the end of the day, you will not have enough cord or rope at outside, right? So that's why I said personalize it, make it your own measurement. So the outside one is longer. So by the time we are done covering, the middle and all of that, it works. I think you can actually even make it longer. Okay, if you have 14, whatever you add to it, because we are going to have to fold it to get it into the hair.
So that's 16.
So that's 16.
Then I'll make mine.
So if you have 14, make it 16. If you have 16, make it 18. All right. So I'm going to put the mic down a bit and demonstrate.
Because we're going to fold.
So whenever you start a macrame project, the rope does not just appear on whatever it is you're working on. There has to be a certain technique or a certain way to put it in, right? Okay, so this is also a starting knot, like before you start any macrame project. And let me. Is everybody good? So what you've done now, it's what? So you go home and wash. That's how you learn how to wash it. So if you make a mistake, right, you need to try and trace it back. Okay. So that's the thing with macrame is, I said it's like a repetitive craft. It's very meditative. When you're working, you need to focus, because if you have to go very far and you realize you've made a mistake, you have to take out everything. There's no way around it. So just focus on whatever it is you're doing. It's no longer time for chit chats. You can make friends later. Okay, just take it down a bit. Maybe you can do 2 more knots. Yes. Let me see yours. 2 more knots. So how many knots have you done? Just 2 more knots, okay? Hold on. Yeah, you're fine. It's fine. Can you take out 1, 2? Sorry, it's too long. Let me see. That's fine. Thank you for showing up.
No lo puedo disimular. A mí se notan los deseos.